I'll try not to cough.
Hello and welcome on another episode of the Wired for Success podcast with my colleague Steve Costello and myself, Patience Pudevi. Today we want to talk to you group, about the group. So you know that we have a group in mind to help parents and with questions you have, with issues and challenges that you are having at the moment. It's a free group that we are setting up. However, this group is limited to a small number of people, and we want to explain the reasons why we are doing this. So recently, I was talking to a parent and I was telling her about the group. I was encouraging her to come and join the group. And she felt a little bit scared to join. The reason why is because she's going through a certain challenges with her daughter, and she felt like she wouldn't be safe talking about it in front of different people. And today, we have decided with Steve to talk to you about what are really the dynamics of being in a group setting and how you will benefit from it, from coming into the group. So here we are today talking about that. I just want to, first of all, start with the obvious. Um, we are professional. We know that confidentiality is really important. And before even getting to have you in the group, we already are setting things outside on the platform to make sure that not everyone can get into the group and that the people who come into the group are somehow vetted as knowing that they're parents and we know that they're coming to actually engage and get really solutions to their problems, not to come and create issues or even, talk about your challenges with others. So that's one thing. Second thing, um, second thing is so having a group, the reason why we wanted to have a group was because when we are talking to you through the podcast or through those episodes that you watch on Facebook, there is no conversation. So we are just basically talking at you. However, what we want to do is not only create the conversation, but create a conversation that supports you into having a better relationship with your teenagers. And this is the reason why we want you to come in a small group where we'll be able to discuss things, and that will be only for a certain period. And then from there on, hopefully, you got some help and support, or if you want more, then we can go into a next stage. I will let Steve go on with the next reasons to why we are creating the group and the group
Brilliant.
dynamic.
Thank you, Patience. Um, an interesting thing about groups, if you, for example, there are a number of Facebook groups that I work in relation to my other work, which is mostly counseling, therapy, and coaching. Some of those groups have been around for a long time, and some of those groups have thousands and thousands of members. And the conversation in those groups is not always positive. They
Mhm.
can't be monitored. Posts are put in there that are not always relevant. There are disagreements that are not managed. And sometimes it seems as though there's a little bit of a verbal fight going on. In a small group, that can't happen. It can't happen because Patience and I will moderate the group. I don't mean we'll say, no, you can't say this and you can't say that, but we will keep the conversation on point, whatever the point
Yeah.
is. So, for example, if somebody comes in there and raises a post about, I'm having trouble getting my son out of bed in the mornings to go to school, we'll make sure that the discussion is kept on having trouble getting son out of bed in the morning to go to school. We can add the science behind that. There's some science behind that, believe it or not. But we can have a proper discussion. But the important thing, and I'm just going to tell you a really quick story about me. I had an accident some years ago, quite a bad accident. And apart from all the physical stuff, there was some involvement with a clinical psychologist. That was tough because I was already a psychologist at that point in my life. And I really did not want to go and visit another psychologist. I knew what she was going to say, and at least I thought I did. So there was all these kind of misconceptions about what was going to happen. Anyway, I had a great time with that clinical psychologist. She was wonderful. But at the end, she was only able to deliver a certain number of sessions. At the end of it, she said, I'd like you to join this group. It's a group for people suffering from conditions similar to yours, not the same, but similar. And the idea is that you can talk to each other. We have people looking after the group, so we keep it all on point and so on and so on. And my first reaction was, nope, not going to do that. And she asked me, why not? And I said, because I'd be judged. People will make opinions, they'll judge me, they'll make opinions. There won't be any empathy because people have got their own problems. And why do I want to listen to other people's problems? I've got enough problems of my own, thanks very much. That was really negative, but I did think that at the time. And there was a lot of other emotions that came up when she asked me to join this group. But because I liked her, I let her push me. And I went into the group, and it was the most wonderful experience that I'd had in a very long time. And the big thing that happened is that the lights began to come back on again. So I kind of came out of this dark place that I was in, or I began to come out of it. And I found that people weren't judgy at all. There was no judgment. There was a lot of empathy, a lot of positive emotions being shared. It was absolutely incredible. People were sharing their stories, but do you know what? There's something in everybody's story that you can relate to. And that's what began to happen. I began to relate. I shared my story. Some people related to it. Excuse me, I've got a cold. Moan. And the group is still inside of me. The memories of the group are still there. And it's quite a long time ago now. So it was a very positive thing. So if a group is run by professionals, if it's run with confidentiality in mind, so in other words, what's said in the group stays in the group. So we don't talk about each other behind our backs, keeping it simple like that. There's a lot of positivity in a small group. There's an awful lot of learning, and you get to ask the questions that really matter, because you're not one of 20,000 like these other Facebook groups I just mentioned. This isn't an open Facebook group. It's a very private group. As Patience said, you don't just get to knock on the door and be allowed in. It doesn't work like that. So it is something that's worth working on. It is work because you'll need to think about what you want to share, how you want to share it. Do you want to write a static post and pour out your feelings, or do you just want to write a couple of questions in a post? Because the group is based on everybody gets to put a post in or two, and then every couple of weeks we go live. And what we will do in the live is respond to the things that are still outstanding from within that, from those static posts. Video can be used. Some people like to use video or voice notes. There's a ton of ways that we can communicate. We take into account that everybody communicates differently. So everybody has a voice in the way they choose to have that voice. Patience.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to also form a community on something that you are going through all together. So everyone there will be parents of teenagers or young adults. So that's one thing first. And then second thing, as a parent, there is no manual. So I think we've said that before in some of our podcasts. There's no manual. in but for being a parent. And as professional, we will give you tools and techniques that you can use to kind of work with a certain challenge you are going through at the time. However, that same tool will work differently for different people. And this is what is great about that. Because the ha-has or the breakthrough that someone has, when they come and share it in the group, it will just inspire you. It will motivate you to also be like, you know what? This week I've got this challenge, or this thing happened with my son, or, you know, I've decided that because sometimes we do have this kind of thoughts as parents, or even I would say as human being. Oh, I'm fed up. I can't do it anymore. How many parents have said that or told that? I want to bet with the bet that all the parents have said that or told it. So you can imagine when you have a community where you can come and actually say that and explain what happened and have it seen. And another thing as well, I think groups like this, they are based on being non-judgmental. The idea is that you are not, I mean, obviously you are the expert of your life because you know what's happening in your life, but you are not the expert of somebody else's life and how they're parenting someone else. But seeing different ways, whether it's because of cultures or tradition or even the way you were brought up, it just open your awareness to so many things. So this is the reason why we are urging you to come and join our group, which is going to be a really small group. I think of maximum 10 people or 20 people. I don't.
10, 10's the ideal number. It might drift a little bit more, but
Yeah,
not much more. Might be a little
yeah.
bit less.
So relatively a small group where you're able to come and release what you need to release or even be enlightened by somebody else's share.
Yeah. I think just to add one more thing as well, it's not just a conversation group. Yes, it's about sharing our experiences. That's important. It's about having conversations about those things, and it's about receiving professional input from patients tonight. But another thing that you'll also receive from us is the science related to some of the things that will be talked about. And I was just sharing an example with patients a few minutes ago about a teen who doesn't want to get out of bed in the mornings and wants to stay up late at night. Has anybody heard that one before? I certainly have in my own family. But there's some science behind it. During adolescence, the melatonin, on average, the melatonin in our bodies or in the body of an adolescent rises.
Right.
And that melatonin means that we're going to be more active perhaps late at night. We're not going to want to go to bed at 9 o'clock and so on. So we're kind of up there and buzzing a little bit. But yet also during adolescence, or the adolescent body needs more sleep than is typical or average, for example, for an adult. We're talking about averages here. So they need more sleep, but they don't want more sleep because melatonin's keeping them up at night. So what they do, they compensate for that by having more sleep in the morning. And that's frustrating for parents who've got a busy schedule, who don't want their son or daughter to be in bed at 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, whatever it might be. But there is science behind it. And I think it's useful to understand, at least understand that science. We might not like it, but at least we need to understand it and know that it's not just our kids being difficult. It's not just our kids being lazy. There's far, far more to it than that.
Yes. Oh, the word lazy.
Interesting one.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
What does that bring? So yeah, it's exactly as Steve just said. The idea is also to give you more, I don't want to say more knowledge, but other research and other facts that can help you into maybe shifting your mindset around, being with young people and understanding your
I describe the work with all of my clients, and I'm not talking just parents now,
yeah,
all kinds of people. I like to describe what I do as enabling them to develop a toolbox.
yeah.
And in the toolbox, there are tools for managing conflict in the family, for example, and a whole load of other things. And that's always going to be useful and helpful. You might not need all those tools. You might need to use one occasionally or rarely, but that's fine. If you've got the thing, whatever it is in your toolbox, that empowers you. That empowers you to be a better parent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after all of this, if you are not coming into our group, really, I don't know why. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. But all of this to tell you that joining the group will support your parenting. And I think this links back to what I was saying before. There's no manual. So what we're doing is giving you tools and you use them as they fit for you, for your family, what someone uses here, somebody else might not use it, vice versa. But at the end of the day, is having those. And I'm gonna say it again, the group is free, so you have nothing to pay. All you have to give is your time, as we are also giving our time. So we will also respect yours and give you the resources that we can give you for that time. So I'm looking forward to seeing you in the group and see maybe how this helps you develop more of your parenting skills.
Yep. And finally, just to get the information you need to join the group, all you've got to do is leave a comment. You could just put in the comments group, for example, and we will message you back and tell you what you need to do. If you're watching this on YouTube, do the same. You can leave a comment. We'll see the comment in YouTube or wherever it is. Just use that simple comment group and we'll get back to you and tell you what you need to do to join.
All right,
Thank
then.
you. Take care, everybody. We'll speak to you again really soon.
See you soon in the group.